motivational speaker, lifeline coach, lifeline champion, and definitely blogger, YouTuber. I'm already on the live streaming and comparing to all the days. Today I'm so much excited and so much blessed with the ideas that I have been generating for the past years, and I'm so much excited, so much enthusiastic, and so much relatable with the ideas that you people might have been carrying so far. So, beautiful people, as usual, I'm already on the stage, I'm already roll on the stage and floor to motivate you all guys, right? To make you feel that life is awesome, life is, gorgeous, life is really very wonderful, and life is so beautiful that we need to understand from the core of our heart. And the main gist, the main mission, and the main summary, let's say the bottom line of this show, the Pabi Show, is just to make you people feel so much blessed regarding your life that you are leading, that you are experiencing so far. So, beautiful people, I want to welcome you from the core of my heart in this show. Whether you represent Nepal, whether you represent America, or any continent around the globe, any continent, around the universe, I wanna say you are already on the a right platform, right domain, with the right person at the right timing, right in life. What we have to consider ourselves is that the life that we are encountering, the timing we are indulging is not late. Whatever, whenever we start, definitely the timing will gonna be right from the perspectives of ourselves. So, beautiful people, I'm Ash, a regular host, regular, your well wishes and your supporter is here to share the, connotations that we people might have been assuming. But sometimes, you know what, sometimes the assumption, sometimes the delusion that we have carrying so far might not match with each other, but we can relate, but we cannot generalize, right? So you are watching the Pavi Show, where I am hosting as a regular host. And actually, I want to request you, all the people, involving in different professions and earning different sort of expertism in your, one field, is that there lies the bottom line, there lies the foundation of fundamental ideas regarding the life, right? So all the people might not consider life that I am considering so far, but I can also relate my life with you people at the same time, or the people can relate their life with mine. So I'm here to make you create the life so much meaningful. There is the reason behind our birth, there is the beautiful reason behind our creation from the nature. So, beautiful people, if you want to talk more, if you want to know more about this sort of sessions, then you are welcome over here, without any sort of disguise ideas, without any sort of twisted sort of vice mentality. What I'm delivering right now is it is the real voice that has been flowing spontaneously, so that you people might be inspired, adored by the emotions, by the beautiful opinion, and also with the a sort of positive vibes, and you can utilize your energy, that you can utilize your perceptions of dealing with the life. So all in all, what my conversation, what my point of view always relies on the experiences that myself have got the experiences from my life. At the same time, simultaneously, I also take support from the experiences from all the lessons from your books, from their experiences and the daily lives, how they are dealing with their life. So what I want to share is that in the walk I have been walking along the road, and at that time there is a one idea that pop out into my head. And what is that in the universe, right? In the whole universe, there are billionaires. In the whole universe, there are also, homeless people around. And at that time, what might be the reason, what might be the reason why people they are leading their life in sophistication, and at the same time, there are also people actually who do not want to live their life in such a deprived way, or let's say in that poorly way, but still they are compelled to live a life in such a manner. And at that time, what I deduce the reason behind such a important a reason is that people actually who are billionaire have such a mindset, is such a strong determination, and lot of efforts they are they are using. But at the same time, sometimes they might feel low as well. But in case of poor, or actually I'm not indicating, and my implication doesn't mean that I am just have a negative share of so-called the low mindset to the homeless, or let's say the people who are deprived of having sophistications or luxurious life. Actually, the people with the with such a people have a mindset of not believing on themselves, right? They do not believe in the capacity, in the dexterities, or let's say the strength of their mindset, and they are just following the words of other without giving one effort to the way they are leading their life. They are not actually concerning with the lesson or expert in their one straight way. They are working hard. But what I have find out at the gist is that working hardly, straightly, without taking any sort of techniques, any sort of cleverness in our tasks, will not make us billionaire. What I have deduced the idea that sometimes we need to secretly follow the strategies that are very much helpful for the people who are really very billionaire in the world. Actually, we have the concept that the billionaire people, they always perform the tasks in hanky-panky way, and they actually are immoral. They are shocking the blood of the poor and underprivileged people, so they are getting such a immense sort of success in their life. But in this condition, in this situation, what is my one standpoint is that all the billionaires, all the people who belong to the elite group of people are not, cheater. They are not actually, exploiting the, condition of the poorly, managed people. But all in all, actually they have such a, powerful mantra, show that they are, show they are there in that position of, brilliant, right? And at the same time, there are people actually very much destitute, and they do not actually want to hear the story of the success. They do not want to follow the technique, or let's say strategies, plans, and they do not want to schedule life in the way that billionaire people or the people having riches are following, right? So in this point, what I have to say, what I want to shout out is that life will definitely gonna be so much extraordinary and so much beautiful when we actually, secretly choose the key, or keys, keys that will definitely gonna, make us our level the way we want, right? Because all people around the globe, around the universe, actually they do not want to live their life being so much worried about their future, and they do not, want to lead their life in inadequacies. What all people they want their life to lead, becoming so much powerful, so much influential, so much, extraordinarily, ocean. But these are the lagging, these are the, backwarding nature of the, people. They are actually dragging their life towards, poverty, life towards failure, and definitely lives towards fruitless highway. So beautiful people, I am already here and sharing the beautiful ideas of, progress, ideas, prosperity, idea of a developed mindset, and yes, definitely the ideas or opinion which can definitely gonna support you to be such a, such a people actually who have contributed their life, not the, in course of their physical life, but also after that also, after, demise of their life also, they have contributed a lot. As for example, we can take the beautiful example from our country, Nepal. There are so much billionaire, entrepreneurs in context of Nepal. Actually, I do not want to mention their name. You can, count their name in our finger. There is only one billionaire, from Nepal, and he has, contributed a lot to get such a, lifestyle in his life. At the same time, there are also other billionaires, other trillionaires, or other millionaires, people around the world, and we actually do not, scratch their past, what where the regions they have actually followed to get such a beautiful life behind, and what are the, keys, what are the, beautiful ways they actually follow to, be such a beautiful people around. And what I have to say in such a, flow is that actually all people have their right to be richest personalities in the world. I think people knowingly they do not want to be, destitute. They do not want to be poor. They do not want to be, dependable to the others. But it's the time and situation, it's the circumstances, and it's of course it's a mindset that people are not strongly and strictly, sticking on their goals mindset, and because of that very reason, people are not in that position of becoming very much powerful person, so that other people can dance like a puppet from your from your direction, and people can only be robotic, and you have that sort of remote in your hand. So beautiful people, don't hate rich people, and don't hate the ambitious life to be speared so far, because every individual in this beautiful life has helped a lot to be such a extraordinary, such a brilliant, and definitely such a technical practical person in our life, right? So I have a huge respect for those people actually who have contributed their life for not developing for the sustainable development for their life, but also they have contributed to develop the condition of other people as well. So my viewpoint from my side will always support to the actual sort of real sort of people who have the heart of gold, lighting with a diamond. What I mean to tell you is that if we want to be really everlasting, or let's say eternal sort of human beings, then definitely we need the efforts, attempts, or penance that we need to follow. Otherwise, I think words alone cannot change the society, and we cannot convince. Actually, all in all, the mission, the grandest motto, or let's say the mission project that we need to in our in our mind and in our heart, and the activities that we follow should simultaneously be portrayed in our actions. So all in all, this is my beautiful ideas of making you people aware about the intelligent and very much ideal life that you have not experienced, or let's say imagine it, right? So as an inspirational speaker, as a motivational coach, and at the same time your beautiful friend, what I have always in position to uplift the level that you are stepping so far. It might be beautiful start of your life, or jump start your life that you are planning to proceed so far. So beautiful people, I always used to tell you is that this is the therapy, this is the beautiful technique, this is the way how I becoming so much confident and so much determined to proceed my life towards the path of the grandest mission to achieve not the mission of myself, but the mission of my family, yours family, as a whole community, and also the nation so far. So I have always been so much fascinated. I have always been, contributing, investing my time, reading such a beautiful, lines that definitely I consider it is written in golden lines, because it has actually these lines have helped a lot for transferring all people who seriously give their mind on such a beautiful lines, and they follow and they execute in their life. So for the past stage, I have been establishing the trained the way, or let's say the ritual of reading such a beautiful book. And yesterday I had already read up to 16, and from today I want to start this book from page number 17. Actually, this book is very much faithful. If you people belong to the literary background, or if you have that sort of technical, actually not technical, but you people likes you people like, not likes, okay, you people like literary sort of the text, and you have your choice on novels and books, especially you belong to the literary literature, right? So you can use this critical theory today as a tool, and you can analyze and you can see this sort of lines using such a powerful tool, okay? And you can use this psychoanalytical criticism as a powerful tools to make surgery over all sort of literary art of work, okay? So this book is definitely written by Louis Tyson, and I have already shared the preface and the same at the same time acknowledgement, and I am reading this book, psychoanalytic criticism, from page number 17. Continually changing the way we look or behave as we become involved with the different individuals or groups. Edible fixation or edible complex, a dysfunctional bond with a parent of the opposite sex that we don't outgrow in adulthood, and there doesn't allow us to develop mature relationships with our peer. You may notice that some of the core issues listed above them related. Just as fear of intimacy can function as both a defense and a core issue, a given core issue can result from another core issue or can cause the emergence of another core issue. For example, if fear of abandonment is my core issue, I am liable to develop fear intimacy as a core issue as well. My conviction that I will eventually be abandoned by anyone for whom I care might lead me to chronically avoid emotional intimacy in the belief that if I don't get too close to or loved one, I won't be hurt when that loved one inevitably abandons me. To use another example, if low self esteem is my core issue, I might develop fear of abandonment as a core issue as well. My belief that I am unworthy of love might lead me to expect that I will be abandoned eventually by anyone I love. Or my low self esteem might lead me to develop fear of intimacy. My belief that I am less worthy than other people might lead me to keep others at an emotional distance in the hope that they won't find out that I am unworthy of them. Of course, these are just some of the ways that chorus users are connected to one another. I'm sure you can think of others. The most important fact to remember is that chorus use defines our being in fundamental ways that do not consist of occasional negative feelings such as passive episodes of insecurity or low self-esteem. Having an occasional bad hair day, for instance, does not indicate the presence of a core issues. Rather, core issues stay with us throughout life, and unless effectively addressed, they determine our behavior in destructive ways of which we are usually unaware. In other words, anxiety can tell us to good deal about themselves because we are anxious in situation in which our core issues are in play. For example, I become anxious when one of my friends goes to the movies with another friend because it makes me relive the abandonment I felt from a neglectful parent whether or not I see the connection between the two events. That is, I feel abandoned now because I was wounded but feeling abandoned as a child, and I am conscious because I don't want to admit to myself that in some important way I was abandoned by my parents. So I become hurt and angry with my friend without consciously knowing why. My unconscious knowledge of the reason why is what makes me anxious. In this way, anxiety always involves the return of the repressed. I am anxious because something I repressed, some painful or frightening or guilty experience is resurfacing, and I want to keep it repressed. A psychoanalysis as a form of therapy is the controlled it is the controlled working in and with anxiety. It's a goal unlike that of ego psychology, which is a popular form of therapy today, is not to strengthen our defenses or restore us to social adaptation, but to break down our defenses in order to effect basic changes in the structures of our personality and the ways we act. Under ordinary circumstances, however, our defenses keep us unaware of our unconscious experience and our anxiety, even it is somewhat prolonged or recurrent, does not succeed in breaking through our repression. How then, without the aid of psychotherapy, can we learn about the operation of our one unconscious? As I noted earlier, patterns in our behavior, if we can recognize them, provide clues, especially in the area of interpersonal relations and within that domain, especially in our romantic or sexual relationships, because it is here that our initial unresolved conflicts within the family are reenacted. In addition, we have access to our unconscious if we know how to use it through our dreams and through our any creative activities we engage in, because both our dreams and our creativity, independent of our conscious will or desire, draw directly on the unconscious. Dreams and dream symbols. When we sleep, it is believed that our defenses do not operate in the same manner they do when we are awake. During sleep, the unconscious is free to express itself, and it does so in our dreams. However, even in our dreams, there is some censorship, some protections against frightening insights into our repressed experiences and emotions. That protection takes the form of dream distortion. The messes our unconscious experience expresses in our dreams, which is the dream's underlying meaning or latent content, is altered so that we don't readily recognize it through process called displacement and condensation. Dream displacement occurs whenever we use a safe person, event, or object as stand in to represent or more threatening person, event, or object. For example, I may dream that an elementary school teacher is sexually molesting me in order to express and at the same time about my unconscious knowledge that one of my parents sexually molested me. Condensation occurs during a dream whenever we use a single dream image or event to represent more than one conscious wound or conflict. For example, my dream that I am battling a furious bear might represent psychological battles or conflicts both at home and at work. Or to expand on the above example, my dream that I am being sexually molested by an elementary school teacher might represent my unconscious feeling that my self esteem is on attack by any number of family members, friends, and colleagues. A single dream event may thus be a product of both displacement and condensation. Because displacement and condensation occur while we dream, these processes are referred to collectively as primary revision. What are actually dream? Once primary revision has disguised the unconscious masses or the dream's latent content is the dream's manifest content. The dream images described above, images of an elementary school teacher molesting me and of myself battling a ferocious bear, are example of manifest content. What these images actually mean is the dream's latent content, and that is a matter of interpretation. Is the elementary school teacher or stand in for one of my parents, or are the images of the sexual molestations, or stand in for the verbal attacks on my self-esteem? Does the view represent a psychological conflict, and if so, what is the conflict? In interpreting our dreams, then, our goal is to recall the manifest content and try to uncover the latent content. However, we must remember that at this conscious stage as well, we are very liable to unconsciously change the dream in order to further protect ourselves from knowing what is too painful to know. For example, we might forget certain parts of the dream or remember those parts somewhat differently from how they actually occurred. This process, which takes place when we are awake, called secondary revision. It may be helpful to think of the dream's manifest content as a kind of dream symbolism that can be interpreted much the way we interpret symbols of any kind, if we keep in mind that there is no one-to-one correspondence between a given symbol and its meaning. That is, while there are some images that tend to have the same symbolic meaning from dreamer to dreamer, at least if those dreamers are members of the same culture, there are also important individual differences in the way we represent our unconscious experience in our dreams. So to increase our chances of interpreting our dreams accurately, we must learn over time how we tend to represent certain ideas, feelings, and people in our dreams, and we must know the context in which the particular dream image occurred, what happened in the dream before, during, and after particular dream images appeared. Certain general principles of a dream interpretation tend to apply in most cases, and they are as follows. Because dreamers create all of the characters in their dreams, there is a real sense in which each person we dream about is really a part of our own psychological experience that we project during the dream into a stand in. If I dream that my sister gives birth to a stillborn child, for example, I might be dreaming either that I have given birth to a stillborn child, a failed relationships, a failed career, or failed artistic endeavor, or that I am a stillborn child. Am I feeling abandoned, helpless, depressed? As this example makes evident, dreams about children almost always reveal something about our feelings towards ourselves or toward the child that is still which within us, and that is probably still wounded in some way. Given that our sexuality is such an important reflection of our psychological being, our dreams about our gender roles or about our attitudes toward ourselves and others as sexual beings are also revealing. In order to interpret these dreams, we need to be aware of the male and female imagery that can occur in them. Male imagery or phallic symbols can include towers, rockets, cones, arrows, swords, and the like. like. In short, it sounds upright or goes off. It might be functioning as a phallic symbol. For example, if I dream that I'm holding my friend at gunpoint, I might be expressing unconscious sexual aggression toward that friend or towards someone else for whom that friend is a safe stand in such a my friends more or my mate or my mate. In addition, my sexual aggression might be interpreted in a number of the ways is the emphasis on the sexual, on the aggression, or on both. Do I desire my friend's mate or I'm jealous of my friend's mate? Do I want to become more assertive in my sexual relationships with my mate, or do I want to hurt my friend's sexual self-image as my mate has hurt mine? To decide which interpretation is correct requires more data in the form of all the similar dreams patterns in my walking behavior and an honest analysis of our feelings about the dreams and about the people involved. Analogously, if I dream that I'm being held at a gunpoint, I might be expressing the unconscious feelings that my sexuality or my identity in general is being exploited or endangered. Female imagery can include caves, rooms, walled in gardens like ones we see in paintings representing the Virgin Mary cups or in closures and containers of any kind. In the image can be stand in for or of the warm, then it might be functioning as a female imagery. Thus, if I dream I am trapped or lost in a small dark room, I might be expressing an unconscious fear of my mother's control over me or an unconscious fear that I have never completely matured as human beings. Perhaps I'm expressing both for these two problems are certainly related. Female imagery can also include milk, fruits, and other kinds of food as well as the containers in which food is delivered, such as bottles or cups. Yes, there is an overlap here with warm imagery. In other words, anything that can be stand in for the beast, which is itself standing for emotional nurturing. So if I dream that I'm trying to feed a litter of hungry kittens from a small, rapidly diminishing bottle of milk, or dream that either gender can have, I might be expressing an unconscious feeling that too much is being asked of me by my children or by my spouse or my employer or by all of them, or that I am putting too much pressure on myself to take care of others. Analogously, if I dream I'm hungry or looking for food, I might be expressing an unconscious need for emotional nurturing. To move to other kinds of symbols, if I dream about water, which is fluid, changeable, sometimes smoothing, sometimes dangerous, and often deeper than it looks, chances are good that I am dreaming about my sexuality or realm of the emotions or realm of the unconscious. So, a dream that I'm about to overwhelmed by a tidal wave probably indicates some fear of being overwhelmed by a repressed emotion that I fear is about erupt. Of course, what is also related to our experience in the womb or the dreams that involve what especially immersion in water might be about our relationships with our mothers. Dreams about buildings may refer to my relationship with myself, with the artistic or the basement as a standing for the unconscious, or dreams about buildings may refer to my relationship with some institutions that the building represents for me. For example, the school, the company for which I work, or the law, which because it represents social rules and definitions might be standing for my superego. Although we might often dream about fears and aunts that we know we have that are clearly part of our conscious experience, our dreams about these concerns probably indicate that we need to work further on them. that they bite into us in which we are not ready to admit. Of course, recurring dreams or recurring dreams images are the most reliable indicators of our unconscious concerns. Regardless of how firing or disturbing our dreams are, they are relatively safe outlets for unconscious fears, guilty desires, and unresolved conflicts because we have seen they come to us in disguised form. We will interpret them only to whatever extent we are ready to do so. In addition, if dream becomes too threatening, we will wake up as we must often do during nightmares. However, if my nightmares begin to occur while I'm awake, that is, if the broken down of my defenses is more than temporary, if my anxiety cannot be averted, if the truth hidden by repression comes out before my conscious self in a manner that I neither disguised nor handled, then I'm in crisis or trauma. The meaning of the death, a crisis brings into the spotlight ounce fear, guilt, desires, or unresolved conflicts that I have failed to deal with and that demand action. I'm flooded by the past because I can now see what was really going on. This is how I can know myself through crisis. Trauma is also used, of course, to refer to painful experience that scares us psychologically. Thus, I might experience the childhood trauma of losing a sibling to illness, accidental death, or suicide, and in later life experience the trauma or crisis of being flooded by all the guilt, denial, and conflict I have repressed concerning that death, and I might also see, for example, the ways in which my parents unconsciously encouraged my guilt in order to relive their one. In fact, our relationship is that whether or not we are traumatized by inner childhood is a principal organizer of our psychological experience. Before we examine how our relationship to death operates in this way, it is important to do this note that death is the subject that it seems to me has given psychoanalytic. Is it Is it any wonder then, given the enormous role that death plays in our lives, that we should be fascinated with it? In fact, I think it's reasonable to conclude that the greater our fear is, the greater our fascination becomes. Put another way, the greater the role that death works plays in our psychological being, the greater our attraction is, despite the horror that accompanies it to death in all its form. We cannot see too many violent movies or docudramas about a natural disaster. We cannot keep our eyes off the roadside or a car wreck. We cannot see too many news reports about child abuse, rape, and AIDS. So we cannot see too many made for television movies about people who killed their spouses or their lovers. Spouses, or too many talk shows on which members of dysfunctional relationships deeply display their dysfunction apparently with no more self-awareness than children displaying their favorite toys. Our fascination with media representations of death and death work in another example of how we project our fears and problems into people and events outside ourselves. This fascination thus operates in a defense. If I think about the child abuser on the other side of the town, or from different social class or ethics background from mine, I divert my attention from the ways in which I have been abused or from my abuse of others. The meaning of sexuality. Another area of psychological experience that I has tended to that has tended to elicit abstract explanations, and as we saw above, this points to its frightening power in our lives in human sexuality. For example, psychoanalytic theorists, especially in the past, sexuality was a matter of a biological pressure that is discharged in the act of sexual intercourse. Freud called this drive eros and placed it in opposition to Thanatos, the death drive. However, Freud didn't stop there. For one thing, he realized that our sexuality is a part and partial of our identity, and thus relates to our capacity to feel pleasure in the ways that are not generally considered sexual. This is why he believed that even infants are sexual beings who pass through stages oral, anal, and genital, in which pleasure is focused in different parts of the body. You can imagine the fear of horror and the misunderstanding that caused in Victorian society. Theorists have continued to build on Freud's insight, and psychoanalysts today sees a close connection between our sexuality and our identity, because the origin of our sexual being is in the nature of affirmations or disruption of our sense of self that occurs in childhood. Therefore, our sexuality is one of the clearest and most consistent barometers of our psychological state in general. For psychoanalysis, our sexuality is an inescapable human reality to which we must live a relationship. Our sexuality is not a matter of biological drive discharge mechanisms, but a matter of meanings. In analyzing sexual behavior, then the appropriate psychoanalytic question is, what conscious and unconscious meanings and purpose do I express or enact in my sexuality? Do I use sex to purchase something I want from my mate? Do I withhold sex to punish my mate? Do I avoid sexual encounters altogether? Do I seek frequent sexual intercourse with different people? It is interesting to note that these last two questions both suggest a fear of intimacy. If I get too close to someone, I will lose myself or be emotionally hampered, because varying our sexual partners can protect us from getting close to anyone, people, as effectively as avoiding sexual encounters completely. Of course, sexual behavior is also a product of our culture, because our culture sets down the rules of the proper sexual conduct and the definition of the normal and abnormal sexual behavior. For psychoanalysis, there is no meaningful difference between normal and abnormal, and this issue is not of the moral versus immoral behavior. There are merely psychological differences among individuals, and the issue is one of the non-destructive versus destructive behavior. Society's rules and definitions concerning sexuality form a large part of our superego, or the social values and taboos that we internalize consciously or unconsciously and experience as our sense of right and wrong. Whereas the word conscience, as it is usually used, generally implies something good. As Jimmy Cricket says, let your conscience be your guide. The word superego often implies feeling guilty when we shouldn't, feeling guilty only because we are socially programmed unusually through the family to feel so, as when we feel guilty for taking a lower paid job even when we know that. Of course, sexual behaviors, the superego is in the direct opposition to the ID, the psychological reservoir of our instincts and our libido or sexual energy. The ID is devoted slowly to the gratification of prohibited desires of all kinds: desire for power, for sex, for amusement, for food, without an eye to consequences. In other words, the ID consists largely of those desires regulated or forbidden by the social conventions. Thus, the superego or cultural taboos determines which desires the idea will contain. Senses plays a referee between the idea and id and superego, and all three are defined by their relationships. None acts independently of the others, and a change in one always involves changes in the other two. In this way, the ego is to a large degree the product of the conflicts between what society says we cannot have and what we therefore want. For this region, the relationships among ego, id, and superego tell us as much about our culture as they do about ourselves. Indeed, it is the cultural context that has helped us come to more meaningful understanding of some of the Freud's early concepts that seem to contradict our one sense of how the world works. For example, many women, whether they consider themselves feminist or not, have a difficult time believing that little girls often realizing that little boys have penis of suffer from penis envy, or the desire to have a penis, or that little boys often realizing that little girls do not have penis suffer from castration anxiety, or the fear that they will lose their penises. The explanations for these two phenomena becomes clear, however, when we realize the cultural context within which Freud observed them. Victorian society's rigid definitions of the gender roles, which was used to oppress females of all ages and to elevate males to positions of dominance in all spheres of the human activity, is it any wonder that a little girl will want, at least unconsciously, to be a little boy when she realizes that little boys have rights and privileges she is not supposed to even desire? In other words, when you see penis in way, read a power in way, it's a power and all that seems to go with it: self-esteem, fun, freedom, safety from physical violation by the opposite sex that little girls envy, and what little boy open realizing his social superiority to and power over little girls is not going to have some anxiety about losing it. You are a girl, you sissy, say has the power of power to power. Castration anxiety is thus best understood as a fear of demonation to powerless position occupied by females. Lacanian psychoanalysis, while the classical psychoanalytic theory we have discussed so far in this chapter has long been the standard psychoanalytic approach to literature, there is a brand of non traditional psychoanalytic theory that is beginning to make its way into the undergraduate English curriculum, that of the French psychoanalyst Jacques Lacan, 1901 to 1981. Lacan's work is rather abstract, often ambiguous, and almost always difficult to understand. In fact, he claimed that writing about the unconscious should be ambiguous and difficult to understand because the unconscious is itself ambiguous. Its manifestation in our dreams, our behavior, and our artistic production, for example, usually have multiple meanings, and the unconscious is difficult to understand. Furthermore, there is a great deal of a disagreement among interpreters of the Lacanian concerning what he actually intended by many of his statements. Finally, Lacanians sometimes change the meanings of some of the key terms over time. Despite these challenges, however, I think we need to at least to take an introductory look at some of the main concepts of Lacanian psychoanalysis, because these concepts are beginning to show up in student writing, and all too often they are being used incorrectly. As you will see certainly, for example, the word symbolic doesn't have the same meaning when Lacan uses it has when we generally use the term in our literary studies. Yet beginning students of a theory often refer to Lacan's use of this term as if he intended to mean what we commonly mean when we write about. Okay, my friends, this much for today, and I'm so much thankful that you beautiful people have invested your time on this live streaming. And actually this is the process of civilization. This is the process of mending and melting all the lagging civilization to be super civilized world, not developing Nepal only but developing and constructing, reconstructing the structure of Nepalese society as well. So this is the book I have been going through. It's a very knowledgeable, and it's a very precious book that I have been going through. If you personally want this book, then I'm going to show this book, and want to name the title of the book, Critical Theory Today, a user friendly guide. Okay, if you can, if is it possible, and if you people are interested, then definitely you are here to read this book and utilize this same very book in your real life and execute them in your life properly. Thank you so much. Stay always blessed.